the girl accidentally discovered that her fiancé was entangled with her stepmother. Furious, she pulled out her phone, wanting to tell her father everything. Tony panicked and rushed to grab her phone. During the struggle, they ended up on the balcony. In a shocking twist, the malicious stepmother took advantage of the moment and pushed the girl off the building. She landed right on her father's windshield. Horrified, the father rushed out of the car and asked who had hurt her so badly. With her last breath, the girl told him everything, warning him to be careful of Tony and the stepmother before she closed her eyes forever. As the father grieved, the stepmother and Tony casually strolled in, facing the culprits. The father held back his rage and rushed his daughter to the hospital, but her injuries were too severe and she couldn't be saved. The father then demanded to know what had happened. Tony claimed they were just playing and it was all an accident. He even pretended to cry, saying he now saw the father as his own. The stepmother chimed in, urging the father to accept Tony's devotion. The father saw through them, but for the sake of his plan, he pretended to agree, thinking they had succeeded. The two became more arrogant. They didn't even attend the girl's funeral. Instead, they started planning to have a child for the father to raise. But what they didn't know was that every word they said was being recorded by the father. Soon after, the stepmother came with a pregnancy report, congratulating the father on having another child. Though he knew it was a lie, he invited top doctors to ensure the baby's health. This move convinced the two that the father was completely fooled. They then set their sights on the company. One day, the father caught them acting intimately. He confronted them, but the stepmother claimed it was his neglect that led her to bond with Tony. She demanded he hand the company to Tony so he could spend more time with her. Pretending to hesitate, the father stalled, but when the stepmother threatened to abort the baby, he gave in. The two were thrilled, not knowing they were falling into his trap. Soon, an assistant reported chaos in the company, saying longtime employees were resigning. Tony panicked and blamed the staff, claiming they refused to cooperate with him. He added that if he were the official chairman, they would fall in line. The father calmly announced that in 3 days, he would transfer all shares to Tony and ordered a company-wide meeting. On the day of the meeting, employees whispered among themselves. Many declared they would follow the father no matter who took over. Meanwhile, on stage, the share transfer was in full swing. After signing the contract, Tony showed his true colors. He pulled the stepmother up and publicly declared that the father was just a tool to raise their child. The secretary was furious, and employees shouted in outrage. The father stayed calm until the stepmother pulled out a divorce agreement, saying she wanted everything. The assistant yelled that she was dreaming, but to everyone's shock, the father signed the papers. The two villains were ecstatic, but little did they know, the father had a final gift waiting for them.